Howdy guys, welcome back to Deal by Deal episode 5. This is a small commercial building in Palmer, Alaska in 2009. So at this time, me and my brother Nick had a small brew supply store where customers could make wine on site and then come and bottle it up and have a good time. We were looking for a place to put this business instead of paying rent where we were at the time. And so we found this building. We were able to purchase it on owner financing. So with the owner financing, the terms that we're able to negotiate were 10% down, I believe, so about $30,000 on the purchase price of $300,000. The property did need work. It's an unconventional building, not in the best of shape at the time, on about an acre lot with some good highway frontage. So the sellers did have another mortgage on the property that wasn't going to be able to be paid off with the down payment that we gave them. So we wrapped that mortgage with the new owner finance one. And what that means is that our note for $270,000 was responsible for paying the underlying note, which I don't remember the details on, but basically that note would be paid as long as we paid, and so we were safe. The note holder would get their portion, and so would the other note holder. So everybody gets paid as long as we pay our monthly due on that. And so our monthly mortgage on that was going up to $2,600 plus taxes and insurance, which was quite a bit more, about 3 times more than we were paying rent at our previous location. So even though we had a lot larger space and we owned it and we're building equity, we needed to come up with something to be able to pay the extra monthly expense of having that property. And so this property with the extra land on both sides did have opportunity for additional income since we really didn't need that much parking. What we ended up doing right off the bat was we started trenching over to the new location on the lot for the well and the septic so that we could have a coffee stand or some business like that to put their own building there and rent the lot rent from us. So we put in a gas and electric meter and the septic. And we did eventually get a well line over there. I think in the beginning they were just having water delivered, but we do rent that spot even today for monthly income without having the expense of actually owning the building. On the other side of the lot, we put a small building that was kind of a lean-to on the side of a mobile home, which is another Deal by Deal episode we'll be hitting in the future. But when I got this lean-to, we had it moved over there by building movers, and we finished up framing that side, and it had electric to it. And we got the electric meter for it, and we rented that out as an office to different businesses over the years. I think one of the first businesses was an office for a guy that had a used car lot, so he was selling some cars off of there. And so now we've got the building that we were utilizing for our own business, and then both the 2 rental streams coming in to help subsidize that larger mortgage than we were used to. So eventually we sold that business to one of the employees, and then we just had 3 rental units. We really wanted to hold that commercial real estate. The business never made us a lot of money, and we needed to move into real estate sales and investing full time. So when we gave that up, we were able to focus on real estate more. And the whole idea of that business kind of in the start was to get us into some commercial real estate. So that was the most profit that came out of that business, was able to help us get into this building that we had a hard time paying for otherwise. So after we owned that, I think 7 or 8 years, I wanted to refinance into a little bit more affordable of a loan and get rid of that underlying mortgage too, just because I didn't remember what all the terms were on that. I just wanted to clean that up. So I started looking for private money to get that refinanced and get rid of the wrapped mortgage. I didn't want to hold that forever, and also I wanted a little bit more affordable of an interest rate on it. So because our original mortgage was only a 15-year note, in the first 7 years or so, we did make some pretty good progress on it, even though, of course, there's more interest towards the beginning of the note. We had gotten it paid down quite a bit, and so I was trying to refinance it out to 15 years again, which is where we started, but we're halfway through that. I wanted to refinance it out to 15 years at a more affordable interest rate, so I started looking for private money. In this Deal by Deal series, we'll be talking about how I've done a lot of my deals with private investors' money, and that's how I ended up refinancing this one without using a bank. And so because I didn't have anybody who wanted to invest the full amount that I needed, I ended up getting 2 separate investors on this. One was a colleague, and one was somebody that I didn't even know at the time when I reached out for him about this opportunity. And so when we refinanced it out to the 15 years, our mortgage payment came down by like over $1,000, which really makes the property cash flow much better now. Okay, so on this refinance, that was my big goal that I set for that year, was to refinance that to change our cash flow. I did one of the coolest things I've done in my whole investing career, how I found the private money for this. And so I tell this story all the time. So in real estate sales and investing, sometimes we cold call for leads. We're looking for buyers, sellers. We're looking for somebody who's, looking to get rid of a property that we might be interested in. So at this time in my sales business, I had a listing that was a doctor's office, and of course it was set up perfect for that, and we weren't getting any hits on it. So my client, the doctor, gave me a list of a lot of other doctors that were in his specific field that the building was set up for, and I was calling through this list. I was calling basically doctor's office to see if they were looking at expanding their business, maybe out into our area, or if they're already in our area, just get more frontage. So I called this particular doctor and told him what I had to offer, and he wasn't really interested. He said, at this point in my career, I'm not really looking to expand that, but I'm always just interested in hearing about that investment opportunity. And I said, okay, great, because I've got other investment opportunities like all the time, including now. Are you familiar with note investing? And he wasn't. Like, a lot of people aren't familiar with note investing and private money. And so I gave him the quick spiel over the phone, and he said, that's interesting, but this is probably something, you should talk to my wife about, because she does a lot more of our finances and stuff. So I spoke to him and his wife about the opportunity briefly and set up an appointment to meet them in person to give them more of the details about what this would be. Turns out that they had just sold a condo because they had owned some real estate as a rental and they didn't really care for it, so they sold it. And they were concerned about putting it in the stock market because of the volatility. They had some money sitting there and really wanted something different. I thought this might be a perfect fit. So as soon as we met in my office, before they even sat down, they thanked me for my time and said, hey, we really appreciate this. We like learning something new, but we just want to tell you, we're at the stage of our life where we're probably the most conservative investors you're ever going to meet. So this probably isn't for us. And I said, man, I really appreciate that. I'm really excited about this because a well-placed real estate note, I believe, is the most conservative, safest investment you're ever going to see. So why don't we have a seat and I'll show you, why I believe that and see if it's something that you're comfortable with. So that took 3 sit-down meetings with these folks over several months, going over it, telling them about the specific building, telling them about how it works, how their money's going to be secure, basically why this is a great investment for them and that they won't have to worry about the volatility in the stock market. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, they did end up investing 6 figures into the refinance of this property so that their money would be safe and secure. So I did use 2 investors on this. The other one was a colleague, so it was a little bit easier. And so those folks that I didn't know got the first position lien, which was really well secured as far as loan to value goes, and it worked out really good. The reason that's one of my favorite stories in my real estate investing wasn't because I got a large chunk of private capital. I've done that many times since. The coolest part about that was that I got 6 figures of private capital on a cold call where I was calling about something else. So that's pretty hilarious that I was able to turn that conversation to, hey, this building isn't going to work for them, but what else do I have for them that might be mutually beneficial? And it was just a really perfect opportunity for some private capital investing. So love it. So the result or recap of this deal is that we purchased this property for $300,000 with $10,000 down on an owner finance note. So we didn't have to involve a bank and underwriting and appraisers and all that sort of stuff that we probably wouldn't have qualified for anyway. And now it cash flows really well, especially since we've had it so long. We've enjoyed the mortgage pay down to help build equity over the years, so that's been quite a bit of mortgage pay down also. We get the tax benefits of the depreciation against the buildings on the real estate. And the biggest benefit of a long-term hold, in my opinion, is the long-term appreciation. So this has gone up in the 6 figures since we've owned it, on top of the mortgage pay down and the cash flow we've received. So we've made a few $100,000 on this property since we've owned it, which is a pretty good deal for a $30,000 investment and not having to jump through any bank hoops. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear the details on the next 75 deals that I have coming, please subscribe to YouTube or any of my other platforms that I'm on and follow along. If you know anybody that's interested in investing, you can reach out. I've always got opportunities out there like the one we talked about in this one. And thank you very much for your time.